What a year it has been for my channel here on youtube.com, and this is my way to now reflect of what a year it has been here on YouTube. Now, of course, this channel I did not start posting till June of this year. So if you been following this channel since June, and you would know some of the wacky things I was posting in June. And everyone wants to know, who was it who started you to get these great names on your podcast? Well, I just took a risk. I took a risk, and it paid off. I think it paid off a few times, didn't it, this year? And it was quite interesting to see, because I thought every time I interview somebody or try to get somebody on the show, I will thought they either do two things: either one, do not respond, okay, or two, they would respond, but with a fact no. But I was very surprised that they actually agreed to be on the show. And the first person to kick it off was the current Impact Wrestling X Division champion, one of the best independent wrestlers I think on the indie scene right now, is Ace Austin, the magician. Ace Austin does some cool tricks during the ring. He was the first person to come on the Fowler show. Now, at the time when I interviewed Ace Austin, the podcast and an audio edition of the show, but there's a few clips here on YouTube from that very interview where he mentions about how he wants to slap Brian Pillman Jr. in the face. Take a look. What about Brian Pillman Jr.? He's do you like him?
Oh man, I'd like to slap him around. Yeah, wait for that match. Yeah. He's somebody that definitely needs to learn him a little something.
Oh, you do. So with Ace Austin wants to get his hands on Brian Pillman Jr. and slap him around. I wish that could happen. I hope that could happen one day, because that will be one of the funniest things I will ever see. And one of my goals for 2020 is to get Brian Pillman Jr. on the Edward Fowler show, because I would love to ask him that question. Because I as I say on social media, I've been in a bit of a heated discussion with Pillman Jr. over the past year, and I want to be face to face to Brian Pillman. So if he is a tough guy on social media, be a tough guy. Come on the Edward Fowler show. Let's have a man-to-man discussion, and let's see what you think of my comments about you during the Ace Austin podcast, which I've said on the actual this channel as well. So come on, Brian Pillman Jr. Be a man. Come on the Edward Fowler show. Otherwise, I'll get Ace Austin to slap you around the next time he sees you. Then we had the great Ace Austin on the show, and I thought, wow, okay, well, who could we get on the show next? And so I've seen a few of Chris Van Vliet's interviews. If you don't know who Chris Van Vliet is, he's a four-time Emmy Award-winning broadcaster. He used to work for Deco Drive, which was a Fox news company based in Miami, I think it was. And that Twitter account is being followed by Flo Rida, The Rock, so many cool guys. And he got the opportunity to interview so many celebrities, from, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, to Tom Cruise, and so many other fantastic celebrities in his time for Deco Drive. Again, it's a Fox show, giving a plug there. And at the time, he was still working for them when I got him on the Edward Fowler show. Again, that full episode is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Just search my name, it'll pop up on all podcast sites. Get signed to the newest wrestling company, the new competition for the World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, All Elite Wrestling. So he's now a part of All Elite Wrestling. This is, of course, here in the UK, live not live, but every week, every single Friday night on ITV4. So that's very well done for the British people again for free TV, ITV4 and free TV. Can't get any better than that. And Chris Van Vliet, you can see him on there occasionally on All Elite Wrestling on ITV. This is fantastic. So there you go. He was a cool guy, and and he did predict that his football team, the Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Browns, was going to make it all the way to the playoffs. Well, the question is, did they? No, they did not. After having Chris Van Vliet on the show, I thought, well, who could we get on the show next? So I did some digging, and I then got in touch with an indie company which is not really on TV over here. They do some UK tours every year here, though, but they're not really on TV over here, and that company was Ring of Honor. So we got in touch with some Ring of Honor wrestlers, personally themselves, not for the company or anything like that. We reached out to some of the wrestlers themselves, and I was quite shocked when I got some of the responses. I thought they would not come on the show, but they did. They said yes, and the first person was former, at the time he was Ring of Honor TV champion, Shane Taylor. Came on the Fowler show, and we talked about many different topics, and one of the interesting topics we discussed was football, and I could not believe what football team he supported and the reason behind it. So take a look at this.
I'm a West Ham guy, man.
Oh my! You're a Londoner. You're a Londoner. Heck. We might have said Arsenal or Chelsea, but West Ham, really?
Damn, baby. You know what it is, though? You know what it is?
Tell me.
And I know there's the football factory and all that kind of stuff, but I watched Green Street Hooligans. Me and my boys did. And regardless of it being accurate or inaccurate, it was just a hell of a story for us, to just like stick by your boys, stand your ground, don't let anybody try to punk you. And that's kind of how we lived, in Cleveland. So it connected us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so seeing that movie and West Ham being featured in it, I was like, hey, if they're fans of West Ham, I'm a fan of West Ham. You know what I mean? Like,
So we had Shane Taylor on the show, who now no longer works for Ring of Honor. He said thank you to Ring of Honor, and he's looking forward to the future and whatever he may do in his endeavors in 2020 into the new decade. He was a dominant Ring of Honor TV champion, though. I think he was the best TV champion in Ring of Honor's history. If you want to complain about that, you want to argue with me about that, of who you think was the best TV champion otherwise than Shane Taylor, let me know, because that's my opinion. I think he was. I think he was one of those dominant super wrestlers in Ring of Honor, and I think he was the right person to be the TV champion. I would have liked it if he was the heavyweight champion, but what a shame. Maybe sometime in the future we might see him back in Ring of Honor. But I want to know, where is Shane Taylor going to go next? Is he going to go to MLW or Impact Wrestling, or even maybe All Elite Wrestling, or even the great WWE? Time will tell, and we'll be keeping track of him here on the show. So then after Shane Taylor came on the show, we thought, well, who could we get next? So we asked Shane Taylor in the interview, who would he recommend me to get in contact with? And he gave me this name, with Beer City Bruiser. And he did not let us down. He agreed to come on the show, and we got him on the show. And, he was a nice guy, very polite, and we discussed some cool topics as well about, British pubs, to a UK tour. You know, if he's going to be on it, if he's going to come over here, if they have one, which they did have one in the UK later on this year in October. Bruiser on the Fowler show, we asked the same question to him. Who should we get in contact with next? And he said his tag team partner. We tried to get in contact with his tag team partner, who then forwarded me on to the company media relations team, but I never heard anything back, so we could not make it possible to have him on the show. Would we like him on the show next year or any time? Of course I would, but if we can't get any information back from the company, it's making it quite hard. So if anyone has any other ways to get in contact with Ring of Honor's media relations team, then please let me know, and let's make it happen for 2020. So we were back to square one. Where do we go next? Who do I get in contact with next? That's a very good question. So I reached out to MLW, Major League Wrestling, again, which organised the very first interview with Ace Austin. So I got back in touch with them, and I was able to get some more interesting names to my podcast. And, you know, one of those great names was Aria Blake, of all people. You know, the manager of the dynasty of that idiot at Morwan, MJF, or what I call him as Maxwell Jr. Friedman, Mr. Cocky Man. Very rude man he is in real life. And also with Alexander Hamilstone and Richard Holiday was also in this group, which Aria Blake managed. And she recently returned to MLW after a few months off. And it was great to have her on the show. And this is some of the things we discussed about as well.
Become a Ace Austin stan. I think that I think Brian Pillman is just so annoying.
What? Annoying? How are they annoying?
Yeah. Oh my god, he doesn't shut up.
Really?
And his hair gives me just the cringes so hard that I have muscle spasms all over my entire body. It is fried. It needs toner. It looks bad.
So then we interviewed Aria Blake, and at that point, while I was making that happen, that connection happen, I also got in contact with a company in Denver, Colorado, called Rocky Mountain Pro, with a fantastic CEO, a fantastic organization out there in Denver, and of course the owner, the CEO of that company, Mercury Yaden, then came on the Edward Fowler show, and he was a pleasure to have on the show. We had a great laugh, and he had plenty of interruptions of so many different people trying to phone him during our pre-taped interview. And then Mercury Yaden, we asked the same question to Mercury Yaden, I believe, of who I should contact next to be on the Fowler show. And he said, well, you're trying to get in contact with Marty the Moth. And I said, yes, that is correct. I'm trying to get in contact with Marty the Moth. I was in negotiations with Marty the Moth. He agreed to be on the show, but it took him a long time to respond to DMs and emails and stuff. So anyway, so Mercury said, I will contact him. I'll speak to him the next time I see him, because he was coming to a show of his in a few weeks or so. So I said, okay, great, fantastic. In the meantime, we then got on the general manager of Rocky Mountain Wrestling, Austin Reddick, then came on the Fowler show in the meantime. And we had a great discussion about all things Rocky Mountain Pro. And then he made a comment about Marty the Moth. Take a look. Contact with him. So
I'm gonna have to tweet him or something. I'll shoot him a text, and I'll see if we can get that working to make that happen.
Yeah. He even said, we're going to make it happen. I'm going to text Austin Reddick. I'm going to text Marty the Moth directly and intend to be on this show. Did he do that? According to my next guest, which was, I believe, Marty the Moth, things didn't go exactly that way. Take a look. Listen to this, what Marty the Moth said about the interaction which I told him about between Mercury Yaden and Austin Reddick. It was quite funny, actually. I enjoyed this. And then the next story bit is that I brought on Mercury Yaden onto the Fowler show, the CEO of Rocky Mountain Pro. If you've not listened to that, I will recommend you should listen to that, because you'll find out how it all came about. And we mentioned you on the show, and I tweeted you a clip of that, I think. Did you receive that? Did you have a look at that? Because I know you liked it.
I saw that you just put out something there with Matt Yaden, so yeah. I liked it.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually hear that one.
Right.
But I did hear the Austin Reddick one.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, that made me laugh. That was hilarious.
Well, give me your reaction.
I love me some Austin.
Give me your reaction of the Austin Reddick clip, just for listeners who may not have listened, who should listen to it. So give us some feedback on that. Did you what did you think of it, of the clip I tweeted you in?
Oh, I just liked that he said he was going to give me a text try and make this happen, and I received nothing to make it actually happen.
Oh, really? You received nothing? Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, he lied to you, brother. He didn't send me nothing.
Oh, really?
But he did. I think he did retweet that tweet that you put out. So I think that's what counted as a message towards me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I even emailed him as well, and he said he apparently texted you, but not heard anything back from you yet. So God knows what happened there. Did Yaden message you? Because apparently he said he was going to text you or something, because he said he was going to speak to you at the show at Milestone 9, but he got a bit busy and he didn't have time. But he said to me he would get a hold of you. Did he get a hold of you?
Not about the podcast. No, unfortunately not.
That is a Colorado trait. That must be a thing in Colorado. They say something and do something else.
Two wrestlers.
Yeah. So when I made a comment about it must be a Colorado thing, but either way, it was a fantastic interview. We got Marty the Moth on anyway, but it was all me. I did it. I didn't need Mercury in, I didn't need Austin Wedding, but anyway, they helped me out on a couple bits. So, but I did a lot of hard work. But you know, without Mercury and without Austin Wedding, you know, Martin and Moth might not have happened on the Fowler show. But it did, and I'm thankful for Martin and Moth for coming on the Fowler show. Backtrack a little bit. So we interviewed back with MLW. We interviewed Ariel Blake. So now I got in contact with Casey Lennox, who was the backstage reporter for MLW at some of their events. And she was and the funny thing was, it was I emailed her on my birthday. It was June 18th of this year. And the funny thing was, at the time I didn't know it was her birthday as well on the same day. So I went on Twitter and I seen MLW wishing Casey and I said happy birthday. Thinking, whoa, what, really? Wow, okay. So I then tweeted happy birthday to her anyway, and she liked my comment. And then I got an email just about maybe 5 minutes after she liked my comments. I got an email from her saying, yes, I would love to be on your show. So we made that happen, and she came on the show about a week or so after June 18th. And we talked about some great stuff, and you know, she named top 5 people she would have to face Selena De La Renta. It was great. I loved it, and you know, I can't wait to hopefully have her back on again soon. And you know, they've recently formed a women's division at MLW, which is great news for MLW. We might see Casey Lennox get the opportunity to wrestle now on TV and hopefully on Free Sports here in the UK. That'd be great. Then after that, we then got in contact with a guy from Texas. We're going down to Texas now. So we went down to Texas, and we went to Houston, Texas, to be more specific for you. Which is part of a reality of wrestling, which is owned by 2-time Hall of Famer and 6-time world champion Booker T. We had Brad Gilmore on the Fowler show, talking all things reality of wrestling, how he first met Booker T, and being able to be his co-host for his Booker T show, the Hall of Fame podcast on ESPN. Anyway, we interviewed him. It was great. He said we should get in contact with the executive producer of the show, Kyle, I think his name was. Nothing really came from that, so a bit unfortunate, but nothing came from that. But you know, it's a bit of a setback, but we move forward. We move forward onto bigger and better things. That's exactly what we did. Then we brought on somebody else from MLW, Major League Wrestling, Mance Warner, who is a very hardcore kind of wrestler, and I mean hardcore. You know, he's staples, gets stapled stuff into his tongue, and all sorts. Crazy man. Anyway, we had him on the show for about 18 minutes on the Fowler show. It was a fantastic show, fantastic interview we had, and I hope he will come back on the show next year or so to have a bit more time with him, because I had a bit more few questions to ask him, but we didn't get time to answer them. So hopefully we can bring him on again soon to ask those important questions. But he was very passionate about what he said about Selena De La Renta. Take a look.
Selena's it's just I'm plain and simple. At the end of the day, Selena's a bitch, man. I'm supposed to say that. I'm gonna call it how it is. She's a bitch. She got a whole bunch of money. She goes out and buys guys to that she uses out there in MLW. Old Master turned her down multiple times. I don't think she liked that very much. And I mean, I show up, I get paid, and I fight people. So whoever it is, you know, she could bring someone else in, spend some more of that money. I'm gonna whoop their asses, and that's just Old Master shows up and fights, man. Plain and simple. End of the day.
DM me back. You know, I tweeted him on Twitter saying, you know, can you tweet me? I want to be on my show. Please DM me. Out of the blue, he then followed me on Twitter, and then I was able to DM him on Twitter and bring him on the show. And you know I'm talking about. Hell yeah! Shark Boy from WCW and TNA. Good old Shark Boy. And he was a fun, cool dude. You know, he was absolutely a pleasure to have on the show again. He was short for time because he was quite a busy man, you know, for a shark. So hopefully we're going to bring him on the show again soon to have a longer conversation before we might go out diving and start eating people to stay alive. Then after that, we went back to MLW and brought on Alexander Hamilstone from the Dynasty, of course, with that stupid idiot MJF. And, of course, the most marketable guy in the world, Richard Holiday. He was a cool guy. We talked about some great topics, including about how he was going to Japan for the very first time to compete with Pro Wrestling Noah, which he was very happy about and to be a part of. And hopefully we'll see him back in Japan soon. But we want to see them in the UK at some point. So MLW, make it happen. Bring the best talent, as you say, to the UK, to the people of the UK, to see what they will feel like here in the UK. I bet you it would be wild, the crowd would be very passionate, and it would be a fun TV taping for you guys, I think. So now after Hamilstone, we then got in contact with something peculiar, because I thought this would never happen in my life, but it did. And I reached out to somebody who appeared on Reality of Wrestling Summer Show. It was live on YouTube. I was able to watch it in the morning, and I saw that they had a UFC fighter on commentary, and it was the same UFC fighter who defeated CM Punk in the Octagon. So that was a good choice to bring on, wasn't it? You know, somebody who actually beat CM Punk. Can't say many more, can you? But there you go, CM Punk getting beaten in the Octagon by my guest from a few years ago. It's happened a few years ago, but this happened this year, though. Is when I brought on Mike the Truth Jackson. Now, Dana White and other people say he's no longer under contract, but he said he is. So, you know, you got to believe it out of his mouth. You know, I don't want to get on the wrong side of Mike the Truth Jackson. He might knock me out. So, you know. We then got in contact. We then brought him on Eric Anders from UFC Fire. That we brought him on the show, and we had a great conversation about his last fight, because it happened on the weekend before I brought him on the show. So we did the interview on Monday, and he fought on the Saturday, and he was all bruised up after the fight. And you know, I gave him my constructive criticism of ways he could have handled the fight better and maybe knocked out his opponent a bit sooner, because he had some opportunities in the fight to win the fight, if that makes sense, because he had an opponent on the ground and he didn't seem to be getting up anytime soon. And what did he do? He just let him get back to his feet. If I was Eric Anders, I would have punch, and got the win that way on the ground. That's what I would have done if I was a UFC fighter in Eric Anders' shoes. But unfortunately, I'm not Eric Anders. Unfortunately, it didn't go like that. But he still won the fight, though. But not the way I wanted him to win it. But hey-ho. But we had a great conversation, and I hoped that I'll bring him back on the show again next year. Ewan Adams to bring back up again. He's fighting again next year. I think it's in March of next year. He's going to have his next UFC fight. So stick around for that. UFC fight bands. 2 months after, 2 months ago we did that, and then about a month after that I was thinking, well, who do we bring on next? And I thought, I wanted to bring on somebody from YouTube, because I like YouTubers, and I wanted to bring on some YouTubers for once, and I was saying, if I can get all these other fantastic names on this show, well, why can't I get a YouTuber to come on the show? So I did some digging, had some help, and I reached out to Roxburgh, Charlie Donald, YouTube with 20,000 subscribers or more now, as of this going up today. And what a great guy he was. Cool guy. We asked a lot of questions. You guys asked a lot of questions to him as well. And it was a fun interview. And it is now, as we speak, at the moment, it's the most viewed video on this channel, with almost 300 views. Might not mean a lot to you guys, but to me, that's a lot of views for Roxburgh and for me. So, thanks to everybody who viewed that video. It means a lot to me. And then after we had Roxburgh on the show, I thought, okay. We reached out to a few YouTubers, and so far, no other YouTubers have responded to me. So, maybe they're either thinking, it isn't the right platform for them, or maybe I'm not big enough for them, or maybe they're scared of me. I don't know what it may be, but we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep trying. We're going to keep pestering these YouTubers until we get an answer of no or yes. So in the meantime, we're doing all that. The Apprentice, the biggest thing on UK TV at the moment. Back then, we got in contact with some of the people from The Apprentice, and 2 weeks ago we got in contact with Kenna Nagoma, and he came on the show 2 weeks ago. We had some technical difficulties with that interview. Of course you do, because this show is live, and again, occasionally things don't go according to plan. Take a look for yourself. Speaking, by the way.
Okay, no worries.
There you go. Hope that will work. Right.
Is that better?
Yeah. I'll just say so. It's probably the same, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on tonight. I blame the rain of Manchester. I mean, it rains, everything just fails, doesn't it?
Oh, it's crazy. I can't believe how bad it was on the way down.
Because you've had a busy day, haven't you?
Yeah. So literally, I left the meeting around an hour and a bit.
Yeah, I doubt that will happen. Now, unfortunately, things go bad to worse on the Fowler show. We've now got the software has now decided to froze on that website. So we're now just giving a free plug that we're setting up the rest of the show. So that's fantastic to know how this software is probably the worst software I've used since doing this show live. after Ken and Nagoma came on the show, I thought, oh great, my YouTube career is over. It's over. Nobody wants to channel now because what's happened with that interview. And personally, to me, that was one of my worst interviews I've ever done on the channel. So again, if you don't think it was worse, then let me know. Cheer me up, because to me, I've been one of the worst videos on this channel. So how could I jump back from that? Well, we then reached out to another candidate from The Apprentice last week. It was over a week ago. And that was the Mancunian, another Mancunian. The second Mancunian to come on the Fowler show from The Apprentice was Lewis Ellis, with his tattoos and, and all this marketing background he comes from. So we brought him on the show, didn't we? Why not? And he was on the show for about 21 minutes or so before he had to go off, because he's a very busy man, which is understandable. He's getting ready to fly his travel firm into 2020. And it's going to be hidden travel, which he said, and it's going to be launching in 2020. We'll see how successful his travel company is in 2020. Would it be up here, or will it crash land like Thomas Cook did earlier this year? We'll see. We'll see what happens in 2020. I hope that you enjoyed this quick reflect video of 2019. It was a great year for me. It was a great year for this channel. And I want to thank each and every one of you for subscribing to the Fowler Show here on YouTube.com, the premiere, the home, and the only show, I think, on YouTube which do live interviews. And the most important thing is takes your questions. So if you don't believe me that I actually take your questions, then make sure you subscribe with notifications on, because you are notified the next time there's a live interview coming on this channel. And you don't have long to wait either, because I got one planned for this coming Sunday at 8 PM live on YouTube. So who could it be? Who could be on? Who is coming on the Edward Fowler Show this coming Sunday? Don't know. Ain't gonna say nothing. You have to tune in and find out with the notifications on. And let's make 2020 a great year. And if you are going out tonight to celebrate the new year by ringing it in at midnight, please keep safe and have fun. From all of us here from the Fowler Show, take care and see you in 2020.